Hi everyone, Miss Loomis here. Today we are going to be exploring sink and float. Before we begin, we're going to need to collect a couple of items. You're going to need a bowl with some water, some paper towel, it gets a little bit wet, and then we need to collect some items that we can test to see if it will sink or float. I have a little Lego guy, a cork, a clip, a quarter, a spoon, a key, a pen cap, a little rubber toy, and a Nerf gun thing. So those are some of the things that I found around my house, but I bet you have some really good ones that you can test around your house too. Let's get started. I'm going to need your help sorting each of these things into two different columns. Do you think that each one will sink or each one will float? So those will be questions we'll ask. I'm going to start with the pen cap. What do you think the pen cap will do? Sink or float? Let's find out. I saw the water go inside the pen cap, but I did not see it sink. So the pen cap floats. I'm going to put it under float. Let's try the spoon next. What do you think the spoon will do? Sink or float? I don't know. Let's test it. It went right to the bottom. You were right. It sunk. I'm going to put that under sink. What about the Nerf gun piece? Do you think it will sink or float? Let's test it. What do you see it doing? Did it sink or is it floating? I see it floating. I'm going to put it under float with the pen cap. What about the cork? What do you think a cork will do? Sink or float? I think it's going to sink. Should we test it? Let's find out. It definitely hasn't sunk. It's floating. I'm going to put that under float. What about the key? What do you think the key will do? Sink or float? It's made of metal and feels kind of heavy. Let's test it. It went right to the bottom. It sunk. I'm going to put that under our sink label. What about our Lego guy? Do you think our Lego guy will sink or float? Let's test it. I see that he's floating. Did you think that he would float? I am just as surprised as you were. We're going to put him under float. What about this quarter? What do you think it will do? Sink or float? Let's test it. It went right to the bottom. It sunk. We have two more, the clip and the little rubber piece. What do you think those two will do? Sink or float? Let's watch both of them. Oh, I see the rubber piece decided to float for a little bit, but then sink all the way to the bottom. And the clip went right to the bottom as well. I'm going to say that those both sunk. So I'm going to place them under the sink label. So under float, we have our pen cap, our Lego piece, our Nerf dart, and our cork. Under sink, we have a key, our spoon, our rubber toy piece, our quarter, and our clip. I wonder what kinds of things you have at home that you can test with sinking and floating. Have fun experimenting and sorting.